Hello and welcome to another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. This is Patrick and I am joined as always by Christopher.
Ahoy hoy.
And Jim Schultz.
What's up?
What is up? How you doing?
I'm doing.
How about you?
I would like to read the following text message that I got from my father today.
Oh God.
Good.
He told me about
kicking
this
off
earlier,
early.
but he wouldn't share until the show.
I meant to ask you yesterday if you had gone to the International Penis Museum in Iceland. I read or saw an article about it last week. They claim to have over 450 specimens. Wow.
Do you think that was a voice to text?
No, it was not.
Okay. That was an incredible sentence.
It was, and it was made all the better by the fact that penis was spelled with two N's.
Pennnis.
My dad's a notoriously bad speller. He has many gifts in this world, but spelling is not one of them.
Yeah, so there's something about like genitalia or just like other like naughty words spelled wrong that's like extra funny to me.
Coming from my dad.
Your dad's a shit poster.
Yeah, apparently. Oh yeah, and there was an emoji at the end.
Oh, what sort of emoji?
Is it an eggplant?
Fortunately, no. Oh no, it's just the wow one.
Wow. Pennnis.
So I responded and said, yeah, the whale one was about as tall as I was, and then I got no response.
He spent the rest of his evening Googling pictures of whale dicks.
Mayhap.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen one way or another.
I mean, his big activity of his normally is once he discovered YouTube, he started watching videos of like really big saws. Because, like, my dad's into, like, woodworking and stuff like that. But, like, he likes seeing, like, the really big ones, like, taking apart trees and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. No,
so it's like a nightly ritual. Like, he'll find new saw videos and,
I'll
like,
hang
check
out with
out
your
what's
dad
up.
and watch saw videos. That sounds great.
No, it's don't get me wrong. It's fascinating. It's nothing I would think to do. But, yeah, it's a pretty good activity, I guess.
No, unacceptable. Bigger.
Yeah, that and those, like, weird grinding machines where, like, you can throw, like, a couch into it and it just comes out as, like, hamburger. Like, those things are fascinating to me.
Yeah, like oddly calming to watch.
Yeah.
Unless
Centering.
it's in the movie Fargo, then it's a little different.
Well, that's a wood chipper.
Yeah.
That couldn't handle a couch.
Probably not. It
could
had
handle-
a hard time handling Steve Buscemi's body.
I was just going to say.
Well, very excited to bring on our guest, Mr. Joel Mr. Joel Simches.
Thank you, Patrick Berry.
I've only known you for like nearly 20 years.
20 years, yeah. Good
Oh,
Lord.
yeah. Glad to have you on, man.
Happy to be here, man.
Jeez, you guys have known each other for 20 years?
Yeah.
How the hell did you meet?
I was in high school.
recorded at my old studio. back in the
Oh,
day.
cool.
Yeah, someone else in my high school recorded with him, and I just found out through them and like got my high school band to go. And
And
do
you
it
guys
with
fell
them.
in prog love, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely. Because like even after the studio and I parted company because I started doing a lot of touring and we wound up in another studio and we tried to work on a project. We never quite finished the project, but then that led us to reconnecting and doing the Calvin Ball record, which I thought was
right.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you bounced from Hummel Vision and JP over to you were at Mad Oak for a while too, right?
I
Or
did a
kinda doing
couple.
some
I did a couple of
freelance?
things over there. I did a couple of things at Oak Grove. I did a couple of things at New Alliance.
Oak Grove, that's what it was.
Yeah, Oak Grove. I did a couple of things in a lot of places. We wound up going to Oak Grove for that because it was like the only place that I could get in like right away.
Yeah.
I have been to Oak Grove with a former boss of mine who was writing songs, and he carried a gun with him to work.
As you do.
Yeah, he put it in like a little thermos, like handheld thermos, like
Kept it warm.
cold. Yeah, exactly, keeping the gun warm. And I got to go with him to Oak Grove Studios once to do backing vocals on The Clock.
Yeah, cool.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was a song about like Jesus, but
Right, well, that's true.
Oh, I think I
a
remember you
trade-off.
talking about this.
Yes, we can discuss further offline.
Yeah.
I've said about as much as I'm comfortable saying here.
I have a lot of stories about that. Too. I tell you the story about how we almost burnt that place to the ground.
No.
Yeah. Do we have time for this?
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so
You're going to find that we talk very little about music on this show.
so I was working on the second Abunai album. Mm-hmm. Oh no, not the second Abunai album. we had done one before called Universal Mind Decoder, and we were getting ready to do a follow-up, and they weren't really sure that they wanted to work with me again because, they're like, hey, we're a band, we want to work with different people, we want to see who we get to work with. They were trying to get Steve Albini, and then they found out what Steve Albini cost and said, hey, Joel, come on and make this record. So
Make it sound
that
Steve
said, though,
Albini-y.
that said, Albini's way more reasonable than you would expect him to be.
yeah, but not more reasonable than I am.
No, absolutely not.
But it wasn't just the money; it was also getting him out there and giving him a place to stay. He didn't want to stay on some dude's couch, But anyway, so we come out, and now these guys are kind of jaded hipsters. I mean that with all due affection for those listening. I do love these people, but there was a lot of, oh my God, this is the sophomore album. We're gonna have the sophomore album curse. This is the sophomore album. I don't know what to do. This is the sophomore album. We're gonna have the sophomore. It's a curse. It's a curse. Oh my God, all bands break up during the second album. So we had burned through 3 reels of tape at this point with nothing really, anything that we were really happy with. So I gathered everybody in the control room, turned everything off and said, okay, guys, we got to get this out of your heads, man. Mm-hmm. So what? You just think of it as you're coming in and recording another album with me. It's not like this is the first time we've worked together. You guys wrote all the songs. The only thing that you have to do is play them. So they were like, yeah, you're right. So they went back. We booked another session. We got back in, and the vibe was completely different. We all relaxed. Mm-hmm. We all let our guard down. We had like these little candles in the studio.
Would these be Chekhov's candles?
No, I think these are little like cocktail candles. Oh,
I meant like Chekhov's guns. Are these going to come back later on in the story?
Oh, they're about to in a big way.
Okay, excellent.
So we start recording again, and all of a sudden, for sure, things are starting to click. Everybody's kind of relaxed. We finally got something that we all feel good about musically, and we're listening in the control room. We've just been at it for like, I don't know, an hour and a half of tracking, and we're taking a little break and we're listening back to it. Wow, there's like this warm glow. Everybody's got a glow. And I'm looking through the control room window, and there's like there's this warm glow next to the drum kit. And as it turns out, one of those little candles, it started burning the rug next to the drum kit. The drum kit was literally on fire. So we go in there.
Feel that energy.
Yeah, right? So we go in there, and we're trying to, oh my God, what are we going to do? And the keyboard player for the band grabs his bottle of carbonated water and throws it onto to the fire thinking it was going to put it out, but it didn't. It made it flume like.
Oh wow!
And we finally got it put out, and it made like a little hole in the rug about this big. It wasn't that bad, but it was one of those big, ugly, like orange brown shag carpets that everybody had in the recording studios back in the day.
Yep.
So, and the owner of the studio was on vacation, which made it even worse. So that he had to come home and find out about that. And then his studio tenant ratted me out as well. So
no.
he charged me $140 to fix it. It wasn't that bad.
That's not too bad.
Could have been way worse.
Yeah.
It could have been.
Could have burnt
worse,
the whole fucking thing down.
But it was hilarious when it was happening though. Especially the 5 of us trying to put out this fire. It was like a Keystone Cops kind of thing,
and if that escaped to the outside air in Malden, and all bets would have been off. That would have been like some sort of like Chicago fire of the 1800s sort of scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was in Melrose, Malden, Melrose.
It's right on the line. Yeah,
right on the line.
It's right on the business end of Melrose.
Yeah, but I did a lot of projects over there. That was a fun place.
Nice.
Yeah, good shit.
Yay.
Anyway, so part of the reason why I brought Joel on as well is we're doing a Yes album today, and Joel's listened to Yes a few times and
couple of times.
Has learned a few of their songs.
I'm getting through it.
Yeah. So in particular, we are doing Fragile, the 4th studio album by English progressive rock band Yes.
I think you're confused because we just did the Fragile.
This is just regular Fragile.
Oh, okay. We don't have an article
Singular.
there.
Yeah,
So-
there's no article.
No article. Okay. Fragile. Got it.
Well, Trent Reznor is the Fragile.
Yeah.
The Fragile.
Like the 9 Inch Nails.
The 9 Inch Nails.
It's an adjective, not a noun.
That's right.
Or something. So yes, really
Got a bunch of like real strong linguists around here.
We're cunning linguists.
I see what you did there.
very nice.
Sorry, you just opened that door, didn't you?
It was. I tossed it over to you.
Released in November 1971 by Atlantic Records. Following the success of their tour to support their previous album, the Yes album, the band regrouped in London to work on a follow-up. Early into the sessions, keyboardist Tony Kaye was fired over his reluctance to play synthesizers and was... is that true?
No.
Okay. This is from Wikipedia.
I know the real answer. I'm not sure if I can repeat it.
All right. Well... He quit, was replaced by Rick Wakeman, who was formerly of the Strawbs, and also did some work on David Bowie's Hunky Dory album.
Not to mention Cat Stevens' Morning is Broken was
that's
up
right.
at that point in time as well.
Yeah, that's right. So he joined into the fold, and he brought a wider variety of keyboards and sort of expanded the group's sound in a lot of ways. 4 tracks on Fragile are group compositions. The remaining 5 are solo pieces written by each member. Its cover is the band's first designed by Roger Dean, who would go on to design many of their future covers and stage sets. Recording for the album took place in September 1971 at Advision Studios using a 16-track tape machine. Eddie Offord, who served as a recording engineer on Time and a Word, assumed his role while sharing production duties with the band. Rolling Stone reported the album cost about $30,000.
That's some fucking turnaround time right there.
Yeah.
They recorded in September and released in November.
Yeah. And I think Close to the Edge came out like the next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just with like production costs, just like production of the vinyl and everything like that, 2 months is nothing.
Right.
Well, think about something like this with like that album with Close to the Edge. They were going into the studio and they were also playing shows.
Yeah, no, I understand like the
So they-
70s work ethic. It's more the physical fact that they were able to get an album on shelves after 2 months.
Oh my God, yeah,
from
that
the
is
start
quite-
of the
that is quite a
record date.
turnaround,
Like
yeah.
that's astonishing to me.
Fragile is formed of 9 tracks. 4 are quote-unquote group arranged and performed, with the remaining 5 being the individual ideas personally arranged and organized by the 5 members. Squire reasoned this approach was necessary in part to save time and reduce studio costs. So that was probably part of it too. There was
Boys, this needs to be on the shelves in November.
That's more like it. And they didn't have any other songs that they really wanted to use.
Yeah, fair enough.
Exactly. So according to Bruford, there was this endless discussion about how the band could be used. I felt like we could use all 5 musicians differently, so I said brightly, why don't we do some individual things whereby we all use the group for our own musical fantasy? I'll be the director, conductor, maestro for the day, then you do your own track, and so on. Wakeman commented on the album's structure. Some critics thought that it was just being flash. The thinking behind this was that we realized there would be a lot of new listeners coming into the band. They would find out where each individual player's contribution lie. Fragile received mostly positive reception and is considered to be, among Yes fans and like classic rock fans in general, to be one of their best. I was introduced to this record, I think, when I was 14. My dad showed it to me, and he brought me. It was a CD copy of it that he gave to me and told me to listen to "Heart of the Sunrise" like before anything else, and I instantly fell in love with this track for a lot of reasons. But I want to hear what everyone
I
else
was
thinks.
saying when we were listening, Long Distance Runaround, when I was a little kid, I called that the fun song.
That's right. So you've heard it.
Yeah.
In the past.
I was a wee
fir-
lad.
And this is the first time I have listened to this album.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Another notch in the old belt.
Yeah. So let's go around the horn and talk about what our favorite songs are. So, Jim, let's start with you.
My favorite song is going to be Heart of the Sunrise. This song just ticks all the boxes for me as a drummer and a rhythmic enthusiast. Just all the crazy fucking time changes and stuff.
I love the paradiddle sequence.
Yeah, that it just kind of slams in with that intro. And then we were talking about those volume swells. I really like that dynamic. And I also noted, like, the song's, like, it's all over the place, but it doesn't feel like it's all over the place. Like, everything really kind of sits nicely, and it doesn't get, like, whoa, like, I don't get overwhelmed by it at all. It feels like it belongs. Every piece of it belongs.
They have a good, Eddie does a good job, Eddie Offert, the producer, does a good job kind of tying everything contextually together, too, with all the different arrays of sound. You still hear, like, familiar things come back in that sort of ground it.
A lot of that is Rick Wakeman. He did a lot of arranging on that album, and he and Steve Howe, went back and forth on all kinds of ideas and stuff. And it's kind of like, well, if you're going to play this line, then I'm going to play this line. So they complemented each other, and it's like one of the, I know it's not my turn, but it's like
it technically is.
Well, it's like all the musicians are doing something like intricate and different, but it serves the song. Right. It always serves the song, and that was, I think, what made Yes really good for those couple of albums. And then after a while, it just became a lot of soloing with a lot of prog bands. But Yes really had it together with that.
One thing I will say, too, and Heart of the Sunrise is a pretty good example of this. I initially looked at this with a little bit of fear, seeing a number of 11-minute songs and thinking about my 2-hour ride here and how I'm going to have to drive an hour and a half to get home. No, but I had a little bit of reservation about song lengths and everything like that. And this is an album where those songs just breezed by. Nothing felt too long. Nothing felt like they were just kind of lingering on anything. There was enough movement to kind of keep the propulsion going.
I mean, it's a pretty brisk album overall. It's only 41 minutes long.
Yeah, it certainly is.
But I mean, albums used to be 40 minutes long back in the day,
Albums should be 40 minutes long.
I agree. That's certainly a debate. I mean, I've put out 80-minute records, but
sure, yeah, it's fun.
You can.
it's fun to do that, but it's in a lot of cases exhausting for the listener. I think that especially with song lengths of this ilk, I think that it really benefits from having a very digestible length.
I can't wait to make Christopher listen to 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence.
Oh man,
what's that?
It's a Dream Theater album.
Oh, cool. I'll give it 1 out of 10.
It's not fair. You haven't even listened to it yet.
I give it 1 right now.
I know everything I need to know.
Yeah.
Joel, what's your favorite track on this record?
I hate to sound like a cliche. I got to go with Heart of the Sunrise. I mean, everything about that is why I'm a musician. I mean, that album came out like just as I was starting to get into being a musician, wanting to play music, wanting to be a drummer, wanted to be a bass player, wanted to be a keyboard player, I wanted to be a guitar player, wanted to be a singer because of that album, for the most part. I mean, all the drum stuff, I was big into Bruford and big into Chris Squire, as you know. And that was really like the first album that I got to hear. I mean, there were other albums that made me even more of a fan, but,
I mean, if you're not into Bruford as a drummer, are you really a drummer?
That's right. It's just like, how can you hang with somebody that absolutely hates the Beatles, because like they invented everything.
Well, you have 5 different musicians that are all doing such intricate, interesting things. It's hard to not be caught up in that and want to like be each of these 5 people yourself. Like I want to be this awesome drummer. I want to be this fucking cool bass player.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much to latch on to as someone who's interested in music at that level.
And just as Jim said, I mean, Heart of the Sunrise just sort of like epitomizes all of that at that particular time in the way that Close to the Edge epitomizes the quintessential prog rock epic album. Heart of the Sunrise defines itself as, okay, this is the archetype by which a lot of people will follow. And funnily enough, it was based on another prog song. It was based on 21st Century Schizoid Man. That's where
I totally heard
interesting.
that.
Yeah, I can hear that now.
Squire got the idea for the bass line from that, and it was ironically, it was because of that song that I checked out King Crimson, 21st Century Schizoid Man. I never heard it before.
Interesting.
But I mean, I also like the Fish because, I was just starting to get into recording and, listening to all the layers going on and all the things that a bass can do. And I'm like, damn, I want a Rickenbacker.
Sorry to go back here, but Bruford plays on 21st Century Schizoid Man, right?
No, he didn't join Crimson until a little later.
That was the first drummer, Ian. There were 2 Ians. There was Ian McDonald. That was the sax player. Went into Foreigner, and then there was a different Ian. I forget. Well, you got the Google machine.
The Google machine.
Bruford didn't come in until about 72. He left after Close to the Edge. He went right to King Crimson.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the first record he was on was Lark's Tongue in Aspic.
Yeah.
Michael Giles
Michael Giles plays drums on the second album.
on the Court of the Crimson King.
Whoa.
Crimson King.
Yeah.
that got away from me. Yeah, in the Court of the Crimson King. That's him.
Oh, that's Giles.
Yeah, that's Giles.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
I think he
learn
plays
something
on
new every
half
day.
of Poseidon, and the other guy who ends up playing on Lizard, I think, finishes it off or something.
It's weird because like nearly all the drummers that are playing, interesting music, they all have like the same like school book of those chops.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you listen to it, of course. Well, that's why you think it's Bruford, because they're the same kind of drum sound,
Yeah.
same kind of open tom thing. You know,
Yeah, very like jazz influence, kind of go
like
holding
the
beat
jazz
back a little
purist
bit.
approach. That's
Yeah.
what they say. Yeah.
Christopher, what was your favorite track?
So I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go with We Have Heaven.
Tell the moon, now tell the marcher, tell the moon, now tell the marcher, tell the moon, now tell the marcher, tell the marcher, tell the moon, now tell the marcher, tell the marcher, tell the moon, now 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 tell the marcher, tell the moon.
Which is a fucking weird little song, courtesy of that was John Anderson, correct?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and that was just the multi-tracked vocals on that were just incredibly well arranged, well performed, all that stuff. It was an impressive little song, and I do mean little song, so it was only about a minute and a half or so in that general ballpark. Got in, got out, and managed to do like a lot of really impressive things in that time. So it was the one that on this first listen I took the most away from. So ask me again after I listen to this a few more times.
I got a story. I'll wait though.
No, please tell it.
We have been talking about music for a frighteningly long time on
Okay,
this
so
music
we actually
podcast.
have to. So I was on the fucking train ride home, right? And I'm in the triple seater, and I'm at the window, and this woman sits down next to me, like on the aisle seat, and every once in a while she would just like sigh and like slam her phone down on the seat, and I was just like, and it would startle me because I was like, doing my thing or whatever, and then she got off at Mansfield, and like I get off at Attleboro, and I went to get up at Attleboro, and there was a puddle where she was sitting. So I don't know if she had like a serious like ass sweat problem or she fucking pissed her pants on the train.
Yeah, she might have had an accident.
Yeah,
She could have had both.
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it looked like wet streak, like she like ass sweated all over the seat.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
it was like pooling though. Like it was a lot of sweat.
So, all right, describe, like, if this was on an incline, would it be rolling down?
Were there
Borderline.
It's-
There
it's-
were beads, yes.
Oh, there were beads.
Yes.
Okay, beads changes everything.
beads? So wait, so was this woman like so angry, like she was like throwing her phone down, that like she was just forcing sweat out of her butt cheeks?
I guess. I don't know.
No, you know what it could be? If she was sick, like feverish, like had like was like out of it, like flu, that sort of thing, had like
Yeah.
a temperature going, I could see her like getting angry that she wasn't closer to home, or I don't know, something of that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
then she
great.
would-
So now I'm gonna have the flu. That's wonderful.
Well, you didn't have to lick the spot.
I didn't lick the spot hard.
I didn't.
No, so I was coming home one night, and Emily and I were on the train, and we got crammed into a 3-seater with a guy who was like definitely ill. He was like sweating and just like panting and just like sighing the whole ride. And Emily was like, "I want to get off the train."
I was on the Orange Line back on the topic of Oak Grove one time, and it was phenomenal because I get on at Downtown Crossing, which is the worst place to get on to the Orange Line in either direction. And it was fantastic because it looked like there was an empty spot on the train a little ways down. And something that I think you should know if you don't already know is that during rush hour on a crowded train, if you see a spot that looks like there's some room available, you don't want to go there. Because when I
Especially on the Orange Line.
when I finally got there, there were a number of seats where the cushion itself had been removed, and there was just a sign taped up above it, or not a sign, it was a piece of printer paper taped up above it, and someone had written, "Do not sit, human urine.
Oh man, my favorite Orange Line story. I was coming home one night. No, actually, was it though? No, it was a Red Line. I was coming home from like Harvard Square or whatever. I was out, and so I'm on the Red Line, and this guy there's maybe like 4 or 5 people in the Red Line car that I'm in, and this guy is fucking trashed. He's sitting down and he's just like swaying around with the train to the point where the fucking conductor stopped the train, got up, and was like, "Are you all right, sir? Like, where's your stop?" And he's like, and he's like, "This is Downtown Crossing."
And that's when you said, "Take me to Attleboro."
No, I have thrown up on the Red Line. This is a different story. And he's like, "This is Downtown Crossing. I think you want to get off at Downtown Crossing." So the guy like stands up and just like in one like drunken step just flails himself out of the train car and just projectile vomits all over the Downtown Crossing station. Like, I've never seen somebody throw up that much in my life.
Well,
And we're just pulling away as he's just still going.
Like they say, it's a place of magic and wonder.
Yeah.
And this was Tuesday morning?
No, this was probably like a Thursday night at like 10:30 at night.
I was being goofy.
Oh.
Patrick, what was your favorite song on this album?
Heart of the Sunrise. Not gonna lie, I fucking love that song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs by anyone. It's just an incredible piece of music, start to finish. And like we brought up before, where there's, a pretty hefty song length, but there's a lot going on that keeps you engaged, and there's just it goes through a lot of moods and intense emotions, and it's brilliantly arranged and produced and just sounds amazing. Everything that like 14-year-old nerdy little Pat loved about music, all in one song.
Yeah, and like I was saying to Joel when we were listening to that bass and drum groove at the beginning of the song is begging to be sampled.
Yeah,
for sure.
And as I was saying, I'm surprised that nobody has.
Well, I didn't count it out, but it's not in 4, correct?
No. It's
Yeah, so that
It's
would be
in
cool.
6/4, I believe.
That would be really cool to have like a very impressive rapper actually being able to like do that, like take over and actually fucking rap to 6/4.
It could be done.
It's totally doable.
Do a 2 4-bar and a 4/4.
Patrick loves throwing 2s in. He loves
I
it.
do.
Yeah,
Because I'm Irish.
Can't fool me.
he's a big fan of the number 2, as are all of the Irish.
Oh, poo-poo. It's nice, dude. Jim, what was your least favorite track?
My least favorite's going to be Cans and Brahms. Is that how you say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's just too goofy. It's just a goofy song. And you know what? It's weird. Like, I don't like goofy songs, but I fucking love Primus. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't know. This one is just too goofy for me.
You know what? I want to go out of order here because that was my least favorite as well. And for me, it reminded me a little bit of obviously it's Brahms, not Bach, but it reminded me a bit of Switched on Bach. But
Yes.
like a slightly less interesting version.
It's like that. What's the fucking name of that era of music?
crap.
Yeah, well, sure. No.
You're talking about like classical Baroque.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, no, it's a Brahms piece. It's not a
Yeah.
song. It's not an original song.
Yeah,
He's
Brahms
just arranged
is
it
a,
for various instruments.
romantic era.
Oh,
so
okay.
he was like 1800s.
I'm not cultured. So
I had no idea when Brahms was, so I just I said classical Baroque as if it was the same thing, and was hoping no one would notice.
Brahms is a type of cough drop, isn't it?
No, that's Halls.
Or are you thinking of Brock's Candy?
No, bro. What the fuck?
Ricola.
I gotta look this up. Hold on. Go ahead.
So I think we probably might be unanimous with the Cans and Brahms.
Really?
thing.
Yeah,
Well,
me too.
I mean,
All right, let's get it all
well,
out.
there's a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a couple of reasons why they had to do that. Rick Wakeman actually had a piece written that Bruford and Squire played on, but because he was on contract to A&M, he couldn't be the writer on anything.
Oh shit! Okay.
So that was a compromise. In fact, the piece that he had written, he had titled "Handled with Care," and it became the first half of Catherine of Aragon on Six Wives of Henry VIII.
okay.
So if you go and listen to that, think-
Rick Wakeman's solo record.
Bruford's on like the front half of it, and I think Tony Fernandez is on the second half of it.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
basically that recording then spliced with a later recording.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, if they'd put that other song in there, maybe it wouldn't have been such a bad thing. But to be honest, like in terms of like how like they had a different track to feature different players, I think the track that features Wakeman the most is South Side of the Sky. That whole
Yeah.
piano thing is like, they could have just done that and had that been Rick Wakeman's like little solo bit, because that's brilliant. It's like one of the best parts of the tune.
I think there's also something to be said too about track listing here, because putting that at number 2 makes it stick right out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, that's
I think
always been a huge problem with me.
Yeah, I think if they had put it a little bit later into the album, it would have been a little bit more of a breather after some of the longer songs. Whereas just putting it second, it's putting it front and center for everyone.
Where would you put it though? I mean, what song would it come out?
Not on the album.
Well, there is that too.
It does. It takes away from
Brahms
the
is
other
ice cream, by the way.
I would Brahms.
It's ice cream. Well, there's a Brahms ice cream as well.
That would be great if he was mispronouncing Brigham's as Brahms. No, I would swap it out with Mood for a Day. I think that could actually be an interesting way to restructure this. Though, granted, I have no experience in the music industry and on a professional level, so maybe those Yes guys know something that I don't.
Maybe they didn't have the decision. Maybe somebody else made that decision.
Yeah, maybe it was who was the manager?
Brian Lane.
Brian Lane, yeah, the guy who procured the bank loan.
Yeah.
that is my favorite record credit of all time.
Yeah.
Not the on fucking the
Use your words.
the 9 Inch Nails album where there was a credit for cooking the turkey or the chicken dinner.
That wasn't actually a credit.
Oh,
That was an anecdote that Todd told about Tori Amos cooking a
that's
chicken.
right. Tori Amos made a chicken and it wouldn't cook because there was dead spirits or something.
I think she just forgot to plug in the oven.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, let's not blame her. I assume it just wasn't working because 9 Inch Nails at that point were basically a bunch of fucking animals.
Animals don't use electricity.
No.
They don't need to.
No, they don't need to.
They chew through the wire.
They cuddle at night to stay warm.
As you should.
Yes.
Well, let's go around the old Bruce Hornsby and talk about favorite.
Good night, everybody.
MVP moment.
Well, wait. Did we all do Lee's favorite?
Yeah, I Cans and Brahms.
Oh, did Joel do his least favorite?
Yeah, we were all just saying we were in an agreement about it.
Oh, sorry.
There
I was looking at ice cream brands.
That's right. You were looking that up.
Brahms ice cream. Get it in your local grocer.
But don't get it in a can.
Ew.
It comes in a paper can, it looks like.
Brahms, or as some people call it, Brigham's.
No, I swear to God. Look, I'll show you a picture of it.
I don't believe you.
Shut the fuck up. Look.
That was clearly created in like Microsoft Word.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that doesn't look photoshopped at all.
It's Brahms.
Oh, Braum.
Yeah, that's MS Paint.
Brom, yeah.
It's not MS Paint. You're MS Paint.
I've never heard.
take
of this
that
brand.
back.
All right,
son
my
of a bitch.
MVP moment. my MVP moment is the time switch in Heart of the Sunrise. Didn't happen enough for me to realize what was going on and then try to figure out how to start counting it. So I think, and maybe Joel, you could correct me here, I think it's switching between 6/4 and either 10/8 or 9/8.
That's not far off the mark, but I can guarantee you they weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, they were just fucking doing it.
Well, it's kind of like, you don't think about the bar line. You're just thinking about, wow, this piece of music would really fit good there. And they'd figure it out after the fact, once it's all edited together,
Yeah, it's just like when a band pulls up and, they ask me to get in. I don't really think about it. I just go for it.
Because, hey, I do it for the candy.
Yeah.
You said there'd be candy. Anyway.
And that was my favorite day of unpaid labor that I've ever had.
Joel,
Yeah.
what about you? What do you think?
MVP moment?
Yeah.
That's such a hard one because
It's a hard one.
It's like one of my favorite albums, and I've listened to it pretty much since it came out. I don't
A
think
moment
there's-
that you love, I guess.
there isn't just one. There's a couple. All right. First of all, 5% for Nothing is like the most intense 37 minutes of music
Oh, yeah.
that you could hear, and it's all based around a drum pattern, and like each instrument is taking that, and I thought that was kind of cool. Of course, all of the Fish because of that. The harmony breakdown in South Side of the Sky. Especially the way that ends in an infinite, like, kind of reverb kind of thing. It really just kind of sets a tone. You actually feel like you're climbing the Matterhorn, and you don't know if you're going to make it or not because you've got frostbite. You actually feel the song when you listen to it. And as much as I love the album, I mean, it's like, it's from the whole second album, the second side of the album, with the exception of, if you take out Mood for a Day, just bam, just like powerhouse. The most powerhouse that Yes had ever been at that point.
Yeah.
And probably would stay that point until like maybe 1980 with Drama, everybody's just like so tightly knit together. They got it like a well-oiled machine. And then of course Rick Wakeman, that's his first album with the band, and in the same way that Steve Howe like really kind of came out and said, this is what I can do. This was Wakeman's time to go, okay boys, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And as much
hits
as
the ground running, yeah.
As much as Steve Howe kind of dominated the Yes album with all of his ideas, like all of a sudden you've got different guitar styles and acoustic over electric, and stuff being played backwards, and with microphones spun around the room, all these kind of weird things. And then he carried that. He did some of that on the Fragile as well. But then Rick Wakeman's kind of like, okay, well now there's a new keyboard player in town, and this is what I'm going to do. And he doesn't do it by like overplaying as he would later do, but it's very sparse, it's very strategically placed, and it's very well produced. It doesn't sound like a produced record, but then if you listen to it, you realize that it really is a very well produced record. That's why you can't tell that it's a very well produced record.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Absolutely makes sense.
I know that doesn't make any sense, right? But
No. I absolutely.
It's so bad,
100%.
it's good.
it's so good that it's bad. So good that it's bad.
A turkey is a bad person.
As God is my witness, I thought they could fly.
Gotta watch that soon. It's that time of year.
It is that time of year.
I'm gonna go with whenever you edit this, just take any part of 5% for Nothing, because that song is just so fucking dope.
Yeah.
It's short. It's just 16 bars played twice, and either of those 16-bar phrases. It's such fucking great Bill Bruford being Bill Bruford, and arranging it so that everyone's like Joel was saying, that each member of the band is corresponding to a different part of his kit. It's wonderfully nonsensical. It's like a Dr. Seuss story in audio form. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to listen to, and just with the the Hammond organ and the super dry drums and everything too, has that like really fun sort of early 70s rock feel to it too.
Yeah, like musically, if you take music with the approach, metaphorically, of reading a page from top to bottom, sometimes you can get really cool results like this. I don't recommend doing lyrics that way, though, because then you get Bush lyrics.
Like Kevin Rossdale.
Yeah.
Are we talking W or H.W. Bush?
Gavin H.W. Rossdale.
Kevin H.W. Rossdale.
Speaking of presidents, just got a new breaking news that Jimmy Carter has been rushed to an Atlanta hospital.
Oh,
You know what's so weird? I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about him and how he's a great example of a person that every major news outlet has a pre-written obituary for. And anytime he gets rushed into the hospital, they punch it up and get it ready to go.
Jesus.
Because, that's
Well,
the
he's
thing.
like
that,
96, 97. He's up there.
That's a thing that major news outlets do, though, with anyone who's over a certain age
Yeah.
or is known to be in a not a great lifestyle or anything like that. That's newsworthy. They'll have pre-written
He'll
obits.
spend a night in the hospital and then he'll go back out making houses.
Yeah, he's a fucking good guy.
He's led the best president career lifestyle.
Of the presidents that have been alive within my lifetime, I think he's the only one that I would say is probably a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Like just
I'll-
through
I'll-
and
I'll
through.
agree with that.
You know.
All right.
Yeah.
You came here for politics, right?
Welcome to Hardball.
Pat, what was your MVP moment?
My MVP moment is going to be in Heart of the Sunrise.
Oh, you guys are so fucking basic.
I know it's terrible, but there's so much shit that happens in that song, and for all there is to be said about Yes being the premier progressive rock band, and all the instrumental prowess and everything. At the for me, I love a good pop hook, and I love in Heart of the Sunrise there's a chord that hits while John Anderson is saying sharp distance.
Sharp distance.
The way it rings out and the tension of the chord is just fucking beautiful. And I remember the very first time I heard the song, like that just hit me like a ton of bricks the first time I heard it, that one chord. Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Master Bruce.
Do you mind,
we're bringing that
do you mind
back?
if we take just a moment to talk about Roundabout for a second?
I mean, we
Yeah.
should.
We probably should because we
Because-
haven't talked about it.
All right. Now, people really easily dismiss Roundabout these days because it was the hit. It was the song that got the airplay. It was the airplay that got the band on the map for this era of what would become progressive rock. Roundabout opened that door. So it's easy to overlook it because you've heard it on the radio like a zillion times, a bajillion times. But when you listen to it in the context of the studio recording in an album sequence, the way we did before we got on the air, you really hear how very well that song is put together. From the backwards piano going into the first harmonic of the guitar, to the arrangement of the vocals, to that whole drum interplay in the
Yeah.
middle section. You're hearing conga drums, you're hearing tuned cymbal bells, you're hearing a regular drum beat, you're hearing layers of vocals, you're hearing two different themes playing against each other and then resolving into the next section, which is the recap of the intro to the song. It's a very well put together tune.
Absolutely.
And even you listen to the live versions and it's just they're playing the hit because they're playing the hit and they're rocking out and they're having a good time. But when you really boil it down, as much as we like all the other tunes, Roundabout has some really cool shit in it.
There's just something really magical about that studio version too. I love when the bass and drums kick in on this song. It's like it's one of my favorite moments. Probably another MVP moment is just the sound and
That was
The
number
sound
2.
the bass and drum sound on that is fierce.
yeah.
The bass and drums coming into that was my number 2 for MVP pick.
Can I give you guys some insight into how my brain operates?
Please.
So
Strap in.
So when I found out that the bass that he uses is called a Rickenbacker, I started imagining Orville Rickenbacker, the
You mean-
popcorn guy. Yes, no, I know what his actual name is.
Okay.
But I
Well,
started
I-
calling him Orville Rickenbacker.
So
And I imagine him playing this song, and there's just popcorn popping up all around him.
So when I first thought you said the wrong name, I was about to correct you, and then thought better of it, and started to turn to Joel to try to stop him from correcting you. Just so you would keep
I was kind of okay. I want to hear where this is going. I bet he's gonna talk about over Redenbacher and start talking about popcorn. 'Cause,
You got it. Glad we're all on the same page.
I like the untrue urban legend about him that he died in a hot tub full of women.
It's because we want to know that he died.
I thought you were gonna say a hot tub full of like molten butter. He's like, I'm gonna pop myself to death.
Oh Lord.
Trying to snort.
God, that would be a
kernel of
horrible
corn.
way to go. That's like a fucking late era Friday the 13th style death, where Jason had to get really creative and just forces someone into like a thing of like boiling popcorn.
Yeah,
butter.
That sounds more like a Batman 1966 Batman plot line.
I was
You'll never get away with this, concession man.
I was soldering the copper pipes in the basement yesterday, and me being an idiot, I was standing right underneath the pipe and got a nice big glob of molten solder on my arm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, so Jim's plumbing now.
I do it all. Not well, but I do it.
By the way, you said not to use the downstairs bathroom, correct?
Correct. What did you do,
too
you
late.
animal?
Oh, I didn't do anything in there.
You wouldn't be able to get in. I locked the door.
Oh, it was locked. I thought it was just stuck. I mean, presumably someone else thought it was just stuck.
Is there gonna be a fucking Baby Ruth in there when I go in there?
My God, Jim, we don't go blue on this show.
What are you fucking kidding me?
We don't talk about feces. Remember? Emily would be very upset.
If Emily ever breaks up with me, it's gonna be because of this show.
And the poop
I
talk.
can't take the poop talk anymore. I gotta go.
Scat chat.
Scat Chat brought to you by Hershey's syrup.
Ooh.
Welcome to Scat Chat with Pat and the Stains. Anyway, where the fuck were
Back
we?
to yes.
Jim,
I think we were talking about Roundabout.
Roundabout.
we were talking about Roundabout, but I think we can move
comparable.
on to
Yeah, let's do
comparable
comparable.
album. Yeah, what do you think, Jim?
I'm gonna be a boring idiot, and I'm gonna say in the court of. I mean, yeah.
See, it's not that easy, is it?
Go ahead. Fuck.
Say it slowly.
In the court of the Crimson King. by Kring Kimson.
by Krang from the Ninja Turtles.
Oh man, I'd love to hear his album.
21st century schizoid man.
That's how he sounded, right? I have no fucking idea.
I don't remember at all. I got to pull it up.
If you think that sounded like Krang, text yes to 442.
See, I always got confused because maybe this is one of those Mandela effect things, but I always thought Krang was in Captain Planet. Was there something similar in Captain Planet?
I have no idea. I never watched that show, but I'm pretty sure they didn't cross over.
Crossing streams is bad.
Especially when one of the properties is Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
Wait, one of the properties? Or like entities?
Properties. Oh, this is Krang talking?
Well, you were pretty close.
Yeah, not too far off.
That looks like my butt after I ate Taco Bell.
Oh, I just realized it's coming out of the stereo. I was like, what?
That's why it sounded so far away
Yeah.
in the distance.
Incredible
You can edit that
technology. Send me a clip later.
Yeah.
Joel, what do you think?
Comparable albums. I actually had to look that one up because, a lot of really cool albums came out around the same time. You had Doors' L.A. Woman. You had The Point by Harry Nilsson, which is an incredible album. I'm going to have to go with Low Spark of High Heel Boys by Traffic because I got into them both around the same time. It was like, FM radio was starting to be like a thing that people were listening to because you could hear
No static at all.
you could hear the longer versions of the songs. I was starting to get bummed out. Like whenever they play Roundabout, they'd play like the 2.5 minute version of it. And then so you hear it on the radio. I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna go with the all right, they're doing the full length version. So Low Spark of High Heel Boys, the title track, was like one of those things that the DJs would put on when they had to go to the bathroom. It's like it's a 15-minute tune. So they would put that on, or they put on the whole full length version of Roundabout. So I kind of heard those around the same time. And plus, I love Stevie Winwood from that era. It's a great record to listen to.
Yeah, I got to listen to more Traffic. I don't know a ton by them.
That one and John Barleycorn are going to be the ones that had like the hits, but and they're both incredible records.
Sweet. What
For
about you?
me, I'm going to go with one based entirely on bass tone and nothing else, and that's Zuma by John Paul Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a really fucking cool and under-noticed album. If you're into proggy stuff, or at least JPJ at all.
Yeah.
The only member of Zeppelin to escape the whole thing smelling pretty good.
He was a huge Yes fan, actually.
Was he?
Yeah.
It was a big part of why he started like getting keyboards and adopting that into the band.
Interesting. And like I said, he's probably the only person in Led Zeppelin who wasn't a piece of shit. So
there he goes. He did it, guys. He did it.
Oh, but wait, he did play with Josh Homme in Them Crooked Vultures. So does that make him a piece of shit?
No, he
Posse?
just hung out with a piece of shit. Same
Okay.
thing he did in Led Zeppelin.
But he did with an album with Diamanda Galas, and that kind of wipes away all ills. It just does.
Incredible.
Kind of like Charmin.
Exactly.
Jesus
is that
Christ,
the
Jim,
Pooh
you're
Bear commercial?
really trying this episode, aren't you?
Is anybody else fucking weirded out by the Charmin commercials?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, they're bears that are obsessed with shitting and then wiping up after themselves. Like that is such.
Well, it's because of the whole "does a bear shit in the woods" thing.
I presumably, but those bears are so focused on it.
Why would I bring like a whole suitcase full of toilet paper when I go on vacation?
Because you're planning on doing some damage, and you're probably not making the best dietary choices.
I would think that would be the thing. In fact, if anything, I steal toilet paper from the hotels and put it in my bag. Because, fuck buying that shit when you can take a free roll.
Oh, totally. Yeah, those Charmin commercials are someone's sexual awakening, I bet.
That has been ongoing for a decade or more.
Oh, yeah.
Point. Yeah, those bears have been at it for a very long time. Have you ever
Unless, of course, you go to the Motel 6. That's just single ply. You don't want none of that shit.
Yeah, screw you, Tom Baudet. Now, have you guys seen the Charmin Twitter account?
No.
It is-
but I guess you have.
Charmin's got a Twitter account.
Yes, and it is run by presumably one of the bears. That is the persona that it takes on, and it is just as shit obsessed as you would think so.
Big poopies. Uh-oh.
So there's a lot of retweets recently for some corporate stuff that Johnson & Johnson is doing. Our high knees are Charmin clean. Can you tell? And there's a picture of one of the bears holding up a clean pair of underwear.
Oh, my.
What if they were doing a comparison with other brands? Look at these Charmin Clean underwear compared to the other brand. It's just a fucking glob of-
Big trail. Big train tracks.
Wishing you, and this is using a lot of emoticons here, wishing you a berry emoticon, happy World Emoji Day. We hope it's and then it's the shit icon. Tell us how you #enjoy the go using only emojis. Ooh. Then we have a thought bubble, what appears to be a book, and what looks like an arm pointing up with the fingers out like this.
I wish it wasn't.
He's shoving a book up his ass.
I wish it wasn't.
He's at least thinking about it.
I wish it wasn't with emojis. So you could come and just be like, "Well, I like to sit down and bite my bottom lip." Just
Just hold onto the handrails.
yeah.
#TGIF. Don't forget to stock up on the essentials for the weekend.
Yeah, for me, it's a bottle of scotch, a bag of weed, and a big suitcase full of toilet paper.
You've been listening to Old Man Yellow Cloud, brought to you by Charmin. Wipe your ass.
Yeah, we should try to get
Please.
Charmin to sponsor us. Start interacting with them on Twitter and stuff.
Listen, we want to get one of your Pooh Bears on the show. Talk about a record.
Do they actually talk, or they just
Yeah.
they
They
do
just dance around.
And they also wiggle their ass and their bare ass into the camera.
with dingleberries on them?
With dingleberries on them, for gosh sakes.
They speak and dance, actually. They
Patrick-
don't actually talk.
Patrick, did you have a comparable album?
I do.
What was it?
I do. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure, let's talk about music again.
I mean, we're having a perfectly fine conversation about
Bear dingleberries.
There's the title of the episode right there.
I'm going to go with Talking Book by Stevie Wonder. It was came out at like a similar time, and like, you know, again, like just an array of like really fun synth sounds all over that record, and just great fucking writing.
Does he play all the instruments on that one?
Most of them, yeah. That and Intervisions.
That's my favorite era.
Yeah, I
Right,
fucking
right
love
up to Songs in the Key of Life. After that, it kind of drops off a cliff. But.
Yeah, the like, yeah, that stretch of like maybe 5 records in the 70s from
Yeah,
Stevie
perfect
Wonder are just
albums.
fucking
Every
amazing.
single one of them.
Yeah, and this record was like, I think, slightly better than Music in My Mind, in the way that I think this record is sort of an improvement on the Yes album, which would sort of lead to what would become my favorite album, Intervisions and Close to the Edge, respectively. And just both are really fucking great headphone records. Great drum sounds, just that like super dry but effective and furious sort of drum sound and focused instrumentation.
Cool.
Check it out. All right. What do? We rating this now?
Ratings.
I'm gonna give this album 7 Bear Dingleberries.
Okay.
Out of how many?
10.
Out of 10. Okay.
7 out of 10?
Yeah.
There were 10 originally, but 3 of the dingleberries fell off.
Yeah.
What would it take to attach one of the Tickleberries back?
Some
maybe,
really fucking disgusting predilections is what I would say.
Something with a lot of fiber, I'd say. No.
More fibrous instrumentation.
I get to 7 because like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm a prog guy because I feel like inadequate sitting next to Joel.
Well, you're like kind of a more modern prog guy.
That's
If it helps, you look inadequate next to him too.
I remember when Patrick
The
was
look Joel just gave me.
when Patrick and Gina were getting married, and I found out I was sitting next to Joel at the wedding. I was like, oh God, I need to go research a bunch of prog shit to talk about so I don't look like an asshole.
I just researched what was available at the bar, so you had nothing to worry about.
But no, yeah, 7. I semi grew up on Yes, I guess. Yes, I guess. Yeah, my dad had a couple of Yes vinyls, and I know he's a Yes fan, but I never really dug into them. I know the hits, and that's kind of where my Yes knowledge kind of ends.
Cool.
But
Joel. Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's it.
Oh, all right. Joel.
So, I won't give it a 10 because I think the Close to the Edge was a 10. And I still can't, I still skip over Cans and Brahms and I skip over Mood for a Day even sometimes if I'm, when I was just learning how to play the drums, that would be like the album I play to. So I'd always skip over the songs that didn't really have any drums in it.
Right. Sure.
So I won't give it a 10 out of 10, but I mean, out of all records that came out of the 70s, it kind of ticks all the boxes the way a good 70s album does, in the sense that you've got the single, the radio hit, and then the rest of it is an album where we're exploring everything else that the band is doing. And because they had one track for each member of the band, they really kind of did a good job of doing what an album is supposed to do. And then, side 2, fuck yeah, man, that doesn't get better than this. Is it okay if I plug my band now? Because I'm in a Yes tribute band.
We'll do plugs at the end.
Okay. I was just going to relate a story to that because
go for it.
We actually play almost the second side of the album with we leave out the clap, but we leave out Mood for a Day. But we do 5% for Nothing right into all the way into The Fish. And then Heart of the Sunrise, sometimes even.
Nice.
And to this date, I mean, I don't know of any band that's been able to really pull off 5% for Nothing.
So there is the challenge out there. Challenge raised.
And no disrespect to Yes, they're great, but they didn't really play it like the record when they did the 3-album tour, you know. And we were like, oh, they punted, no way. I mean, they did some cool things. Don't get me wrong, that show was excellent, but we went back to the studio thing and said, well, let's really learn it. Let's figure it out. And it's 37 seconds long. It was the hardest yes tune I've ever had to learn.
Sounds right based on the song itself. So what would you go for rating?
I would go for a good solid 9 because we're not doing decimals. If we had decimals, it would be an 8.5.
Ooh, interesting. Myself, I'm gonna go with a strong 7.
Oh wow,
I went
different than what you said when you got to the house.
Yeah, no. When Jim and I were hanging out earlier, I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna like this album. And the thing is, the only yes I've really been introduced to, which actually is a pretty good amount, was via my guitar teacher back in the day, because I started getting into Weird Times and shit like that, and he would show me a lot of Yes and King Crimson and things like that. And I kind of, at that juncture in my life, firmly established myself in the King Crimson camp, because I feel like you were kind of more one or the other. It's kind of like a Smiths or a Cure. sort of
Beatles versus the Stones.
Exactly, yeah. And for me, Crimson was the darker and kind of heavier one, and Yes had a little bit more, I think, substance to them, but were also a little bit more light and not quite as like broody. And I was a fucking broody guy when I was getting into this shit, so I was a little nervous about this. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a strong 7. It was a pleasant surprise for me. I enjoyed most of this album. I will definitely be listening to it again.
Cool.
Which again, I will say, unlike other episodes where I say that, but I'm lying to make whoever picked it feel better. This is legit.
I have been listening to Head on the Door a lot.
Oh,
actually,
nice.
Lately, I've been putting it on at work and knowing my office mates with it.
You guys wanted to listen to The Blood again, right?
Yeah, 6 different ways. Let me put that on blast. You like that, right?
Yeah, I feel like that would be Jim's personal hell. Just like he's in a room with like a radio in it and nothing else. So that's like the only entertainment that he has. But if he turns it on, it's only playing 6 different ways on loop.
I'd find some way to enjoy it.
Like just strapped to a bed and like just that like 6/4 bar loop is skipping on a CD.
That's one of the things that I will say about me is like no matter what's playing, I generally can find something to like about it, even if it's a stretch. Like even if I'm listening to like some assholes just fucking playing country music and I can't stand it, I'm like, well, at least the production sounds good. Like
That's like the best you can hope
yeah.
for. No, there's definitely some things that tick off all the wrong boxes out there.
Yeah.
Jukebox Zeros is in the hot pursuit of those types of records.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that your standards personally are probably lowered a little bit just from the fact that you deal in hot garbage.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's totally fucked up my Spotify algorithms. My playlists are all over the place.
You get a lot of things from the Shags showing up on your playlist.
Yeah, got some Jags.
I could just see a playlist generated for you, like specially for you. It's like Joe Jackson, followed by like Chumbawamba B Cut, like
Corn. I'm gonna give it a 9, and actually was really kind of tossing back and forth whether to give this a 9 or a 10, and I have to kind of be honest in the fact that Cans and Brams just knocks it down a peg. I always skip past it, and I think it was definitely a record that was a transitional record, but like, man, they like really knocked everything out of the park in terms of like working together, and I think they really realized that on Close to the Edge, which is the album that comes out next.
Let me ask you this, since you know some of this stuff. Have you heard the Six Wives of Henry VIII solo album?
I've listened to it a couple times.
But you know the first tune that he does that as part of his solo piece usually as well. If that had been on the Yes record instead of Cans and Brams, would that have brought it up that one notch for you?
I think that this record for me needed one more strong track. And
I agree.
Because we had like you had four like the behemoths, and then the 5 instrumental solo tracks or whatever, and I feel like that made it feel a bit more
Fragmented.
like this was just sort of fragmented
Yeah.
and thrown together and almost,
In a way, it was.
And it was, yeah. And it was a bit of a piecemeal hodgepodge. And I think if I got like one more, even if it was just like a single length track, I think it would have brought it up to a 10. But I mean, Heart of the Sunrise is one of my all-time favorite songs. And this record I can throw on all the time and am always finding new shit and always, takes me back to like all the shit that I love about music. And the production on it, like, just has this real nice fury to it that it's, kind of interesting where like prog bands weren't really trying to sound heavy at that point, but it's almost like with like the way everything was arranged where it was so dense, it almost had more of that effect, more of that intense effect than like you would get on later records when like he was using more rectified distortion and digital recording and stuff like that. I don't know.
I think when you're in your 20s and you're playing electric instruments and you're in a band with a drummer that's loud like Bill Bruford, there's going to be a certain amount of aggression that's going to be in there. It's going to seep through, even if you're not intending for it to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Except if you're listening to Cans and Brighams.
Cans and Brighams.
So that gives us a cumulative score of 8, which I think is, again, pretty fair score for this record.
Indubitably.
So, guys, I have a little news item that I'd like to read you.
Ooh, is this a Bret news item?
Sure is. Joel, are you familiar with the website Alternative Nation?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, it's all complete clickbait nonsense.
Yes.
Yes, the titles are wonderful. Often have very little to do with whatever's going on, or at least they'll give you a big misdirect.
That's why they call it clickbait.
Yep, it's wonderful. So on occasion we do a little game here where I'll read a headline from there, and you
Do
all
not click on the headline at home.
Yes, do not go to this website. Do not give them your ad money. I'll read a headline to you all, and you all have to guess what it is. So we can do it in a couple of different ways, what the actual content of the article is, that is. We can do it in a couple different ways. We can do 10 questions, where you guys have 10 yes or no questions to ask me, and then make a judgment call. Or you can kind of all just go on your own and see what you come
I
up
think
with.
we should just round robin this one.
Round robin this one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with an easy
It's a
one.
school night.
I have 2 of them here. Van Halen icon confirms tour with Michael Anthony. Van Halen icon confirms tour with Michael Anthony.
See, that sounds pretty straight ahead to me.
What do you
Oh,
think?
wait, no, Icon.
Oh, I know. I think I know.
Okay, you all have an answer?
I think so.
All right, Patrick, what do you got?
All right, so Van Halen Icon announces tour with Michael Anthony.
Confirms tour with Michael.
Confirms tour with Michael Anthony. This got to be about Chickenfoot.
Go on. Explain more.
Well,
You can't just say chicken foot and expect me to take that as an answer.
all right. Well, technically, Sam Hagar and Michael Anthony were both in Chickenfoot, correct?
Yes.
And so that would make, in effect, Sam Hagar a quote-unquote icon of Van Halen. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's my reasoning behind it. I think they're about to announce a big Chickenfoot reunion/tour.
Fucking our long national nightmare is over. Jim, what is your guess?
So my guess is that Eddie Van Halen's guitar tech reached out to Michael Anthony and said, "Hey man, I love your new house." And Michael Anthony said, "Yeah, you should come over and have a tour of it." And they scheduled it on the
God,
calendar.
That would be so fucking good if that was the case. That would be peak Bret Buchanan, and we'd have to stop at that point.
Yeah, I got to go with Sammy Hagar touring with Michael Anthony.
You got it. That's it. Just very straightforward. That one was actually pretty on the money.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So it's not even Chickenfoot. It's just the.
Yeah, it's just Sammy
Yeah.
Hagar is taking Michael Anthony on the road. All right, this one's
isn't that cute?
This one's a little bit more esoteric. Now, as I read this, I am going to be reading it verbatim, so it might sound like I'm missing punctuation and things like that. I am not. Slash wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare. Slash wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare.
Slash's wife.
No.
Slash
Slash wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare.
So it could be an ex-wife. I don't know any of his wives. So
Slash wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare.
He pooped his pants again, didn't he? It's true. He used to do that a lot when he was younger.
He did it, and then he rubbed his eye, and he got pink eye.
Oh, no.
That was the health scare.
Now, this one, I'll give you one hint on this. This one, actually, it's a little on the sad side for the person that is affected. Yeah, I'll just give you that. And why don't we go 10 questions this time around? So then that way you guys have an actual chance of getting near the answer to this. So yes or no questions.
All right. Is it Slash's current wife?
No.
Is it Slash's ex-wife?
Yes. Feel free to jump in whenever you want.
It has nothing to do with his wife, but it has something to do with her revealing something that Slash has, like an STD or something.
No.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
It's about a different member of Guns N' Roses having a health scare.
No.
Is it about an illegitimate child?
How is that no, that's not a health scare.
Well, no, what I'm saying, it could be the illegitimate child's.
No.
Well, I read somewhere that somebody from a famous band had pancreatic cancer kind of scare, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
No.
Son of a bitch.
Call him out if you get him. You don't have to go in order.
All right.
Is it about GI distress in any way?
Well,
Is it about an
No.
alien? Is it about an alien abduction? Speaking of,
that would be
Yes,
pretty good,
yes,
but no. You got 2 more. Make them count.
Is it cancer related?
No.
Is it?
is it STD related?
No.
Oh, that's all 10.
That's all 10.
Damn.
Damn, this one's tough. What do you got, Bret
Stump the
Buchanan?
team.
Yep. Bret Buchanan has done it again.
Son of a bitch.
So I'll give you the headline again, and then we'll go round robin. Each of you can give me a
Final
guess.
answers. All right.
Slash wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare.
Right. So, revealed, I bet, was done through Instagram. Did she, do it through Instagram?
It could potentially. It doesn't matter. The source is social media. It says.
So somebody tweeted something.
Tweeted, Instagram, Facebook.
The tweet caused the health scare, actually. Somehow.
We're not asking questions anymore. You got to make a guess. I gave you a couple bonus ones there.
See, the problem is I don't know any of his ex-wives, so like can't even be like clever about
And
it.
I'm going to give you this too. Again, the content of this article is sad. It's not. We're not going to all like sit
good.
around like laughing at this, like saying at the content of the article itself. What we will be amused by is how the fuck Bret twisted this.
We're trying to have fun on
Content.
this show. Like, what you bring it in?
This is fun.
Okay, Jesus. Sorry, Dad. All right.
Do you need a cupcake? Somebody get this man a cupcake.
It'd be great if someone had just like kind of gently tossed a Snickers over towards me.
I have some downstairs.
He-
Patrick was looking around for them.
Sure.
He's gonna turn into Steve Buscemi if that happens.
I don't know. His ex-wife revealed that she is sick. And also, and her sickness makes her believe that she was a member of Guns N' Roses.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God! I'm gonna say that this ex-wife, she probably revealed that one of them they probably OD'd at some point, almost died.
I did say this was not about a member of Guns N' Roses, past or present, during
Oh,
the Q&A.
I didn't hear that. Shit. All right.
It was Guns N' Roses health scare.
She got food poisoning. I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to say that Patrick was probably the closest on this one.
Oh, no.
Perla
was
Farrar,
bad.
the ex-wife of Slash and a legend in the Guns N' Roses community, has revealed that lethal killers were put inside of her when she got breast implants.
What the fuck?
She wrote on social media, "I want to share a very personal situation I'm going through with all of you." And basically she goes on to talk about how she had the implants put in and how there were actually some really negative side effects to them, like inflammation in her body and rashes and memory loss.
Wait. Her tits are fake.
Apparently, yes.
Damn. How did I not know that?
I don't know, but it caused a problem, and
That's
that shit's scary.
That's a message out to you, to all of you. Be happy with the body that God gave you.
yeah, you can make your own choices, and we here in the OMYAC camp will support you no matter what you choose to do, unless you are gonna like fucking kill someone or do something dumb like that. But yeah, be happy with yourself.
Love yourself.
There's only one you.
So yeah,
Slash, come on, man.
From that, Bret Buchanan sees that message from her and says, "You know what I got to do? I got to put this on my website." And he puts it on under the heading "/wife reveals deadly Guns N' Roses health scare." And it's like, that is the most clickbaity way possible that you could try to take advantage of what this poor woman is like sharing with the world as like a cautionary tale to others.
Well, it's not as bad as those other articles where you click it and it just takes you to the same thing about CBD tablets.
Yes. So,
Love this.
yeah, there you have it. Bret fucking bringing us all down.
Yeah, way to end the show.
Fucking Bret Buchanan.
Every goddamn time. Joel, what do you got going on?
Funny you should ask that, Mr. Patrick. It's a really very cool to be invited to this because I do play in a Yes tribute band called Total Mass Retain, and we play a lot, actually. We're going to be playing at the Iridium in New York City on the 20th of February, 2020.
Nice.
And we're going
It's
to
a lot of twos.
we're going to do a full album plus some deep cuts.
Patrick will be there.
Yeah,
And-
no, Patrick will be really into that. There's a lot of twos.
Yeah, right. And it's not every day we get invited to play on Broadway. So I mean, fuck.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's
That's really
fun.
cool.
And then, of course, Count Zero. We're working on some new music, and we've got a gig. I don't know when this is going to air, but I think we have a gig on December 13th with School Tree,
Oh, nice.
Oh,
who we love.
Is Mike still playing with you guys?
Oh yeah, he's
Awesome.
great. He's great.
Yeah, Mike's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah. And hey, see, Mike, if you're listening, I said you were a great guy. I could have said that you were a wanker. What's up with that guy? I just don't know. Or why doesn't he bring scotch to rehearsal? Is it because I got too drunk that one time and peed in his shoes? We just don't know.
Mike and I bonded
Mike.
when we were with exes who would drag us to parties that we didn't want to go to. And we bonded specifically over the episode of The X-Files with the inbred family and the mother that they keep under the bed.
Oh my God.
oh wow. What season is that?
It's like 4 or 5.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if I
I'm not
remember
there
that
yet.
one.
I'm rewatching them right now. I'm
didn't-
still on season 1.
So yeah, if you see Mike next time, just let him know that I was asking for him and I was talking
will.
about that X-Files
I'm gonna see
episode.
him in a week. Yeah, it's weird. I met him because he was in this band, and I can't remember the name of the band, which is sad. We were playing at Ralph's, where they have great cheeseburgers,
Oh yeah, I love
and
Ralph's.
and a shitty ass sound guy that's got a bad attitude.
Who, Steve?
Oh, he was just like, "Hey man, I'm Joel. I'm from the band. Do you want to know what we're going to be bringing up on stage?" Nope. And, I think our guitar player asked for some more monitors. He turned the monitors completely off. And but anyway, that's
turns
neither
the
here nor-
mixing board off and leaves.
But one of the bands that opened up for us, that was Mike Corbett's band. And I sorry, Mike, I can't remember, but they did a really amazing cover of "Hire a Bird" by Think Tree.
Okay.
And I was standing next to Peter while this is going on. I'm like, Peter, what do you think? Is this weird for you? A band covering your own tune? Yeah, it's interesting, So, and we were looking for a bass player at the time. So it just so happened. I mean, we weren't looking to, to get another fan in the band or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a fan. He knew the stuff. He takes direction well. He comes up with great ideas. He's a good team player. Holy shit! I'm so glad I play with him. He's a great
Awesome.
guy. And then, of course, Butterscott has some shows coming up. We're playing it once on the 17th.
Yeah,
We're
we're playing that
playing at Midway sometime in January.
Yep.
I don't remember the exact date. I hope it's not the same date as the TMR show. And we're trying to get back to working on another album, which we're calling Destitute and Desperate.
Oh.
And and we're still trying to get the live album out, which is called No Sleep Till I Hop.
Amazing.
And we get this great guy. His name's Pat McGroin, and he plays.
He's an asshole.
The thing is, we wanted Richie Slush, but Richie Slush couldn't do it, and Pat was like, "Well, how about me?" I'm like, "Well, okay. What do you want to do?" $50? Yeah, I'll do $50. So he pays me $50 a day to be in the band. And, hey, look, I think that's a really good rate because our last guitar player, we had to make him pay $750 to be in the band. That's why he left.
Fair enough.
So I mean,
Couldn't afford it anymore.
we got Pat really cheap.
Yep.
And he plays everything. He plays keyboard, drums, bass, guitar,
Whatever's needed.
nose flute,
Whatever's
kazoo.
in front of him.
Any kind
He's
of
like a
weird
horse.
aux percussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Christopher and I were in Iceland, we stopped at this World Instrument store, and we were both like,
Did you have sex with Bjork?
No. No, that didn't
I
happen.
don't know you anymore.
If you've heard of a famous person from Iceland, they don't live there anymore.
No.
Way too expensive.
But we were in this World Instrument store, and there were all these aux percussion things, and I was like, Patrick would just be in here for hours.
I was just doodling around
Hitting
on all the
things.
gourds.
So would I. So would you, for that matter.
I was nervous
Yeah,
because the
everybody
guy
would.
was staring at us the entire time we were in there.
No, he wasn't. He went off into another room. We were alone.
I felt him. Felt him.
He was vibing you.
Christopher, got anything going on?
Yeah, I just finished mixing the new Down City Armory album. That is currently being mastered, and I don't know when it's going to be out, but pretty excited for that to get out there. I had to deal with a lot in the process, namely tracks arriving out of sync, in one case, Todd. And in another case...
Don't do it.
Jim being
Don't do
a
it.
complete asshole and basically telling me... I played drums on this. I get to hear mixes before it's done, and then backseat mixing.
Yeah,
But
100%.
besides that, it was
Kick
a fun
sounds
process.
bad. Sounds bad.
I love you guys. We stop.
I already warned Patrick about this. I was like, Christopher and I are fighting over kick drums right now. Just so you know, it's probably going to come up on the episode.
Which is why you should have had me mix your album.
Oh well,
I'm kidding, of course.
Todd asked me to do it. I'm not involved in Down City
That's it.
Armory
That's
anymore.
it. I'm cutting out his credit on the song on the last night.
There you go.
Record.
Yeah, I'm no longer in Down City Armory, so I am. Basically, he wanted to get as many outside ears as possible on this, which is why he didn't ask Jim to mix it, because Jim played on it. So he wanted then to get me to mix it.
Todd, buddy, come on, man! I gave you songwriting credit on a tune. No,
Does that mean nothing?
does that mean? No, actually, interesting story. I don't mind if you don't mind me hijacking for a second. So I just put out the second What About Naomi record a couple of months ago, and it had a tune that I wanted to put some vocals on, and I was sending some stuff out to a couple of different people, kind of like what I did with the first record, and that's how I got Phil to sing on a tune. And I sent it to Todd because I'm a big fan. And he sent me some stuff. He actually sent me a voice demo with like all these different things that he wanted to do. And at the time, it's like, we both kind of, he had some health issues, I had some health issues, and so we kind of dropped the ball a little bit. And then when I picked it back up again, I was still like, you know what? I'm still hearing this other thing in my head, and but heaven forbid one of these ideas sound like something that came off this demo tape. So I gave him writing credit. I gave him like 20% because I wrote over the other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he may very well have subconsciously affected some part of the tune, and I wanted to make sure that he got compensated for that.
Now have him mix your content.
Damn Skippy. That's what I'm saying. Fair is fair. Hope you're better, man. Good looking out.
All right, what do I got going on? Oh, I'm doing that Butterscotch show as Pat McGroin. Yeah, that was the big joke, guys.
He's Pat McGroin.
Jesus, I could not have figured that out from context clues.
Yeah, well, you're not very bright. That's always been your thing.
You're right. I am an idiot.
When he plays on stage, he takes off his glasses. Maybe you just don't recognize him.
I do have issues with object permanence. So
Because I never could tell Clark Kent from Superman.
Yeah, they're very different people.
Yeah.
And then what else is going on? I don't know. I cracked open an old Smell track that I might actually release as a single at some point later this year.
Can you phrase things like that in the future just as, I cracked open an old smell. And,
The old stink sort of just spread spread the cheeks, if you will, and
I'm just thinking of fucking Red and Stimpy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Too.
No, Dad.
Was it?
I'm a man now.
That was the Christmas fart one, right?
Yeah,
don't think it-
the band episode. God, something funny came out of my butt.
you can also check out Jukebox Zeros on the Zero Science Network, as well as the other shows that we do. Clamshell, Case Files, and Discography Deep Dive, which the Radiohead one is wrapping up pretty soon.
Yes, I'll be done by the end of the year.
And Lil's, I think, is going to be taking over for the next installment. But yeah, good shit. Jim, what do you got cooking?
I'm in pain. So I'm building out my new home studio in the basement. That's been a fucking nightmare. You can watch my progress at buildingahomestudio.wordpress.com that I need to update. I'm gonna end up fucking doing all of the posts like right as it opens. I'm like, all right, here's all the fucking shit that I did.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool. It's like sort of like a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been in the studio. Now let me show you how I built it.
Yeah. So check that out or follow me on Instagram.
I want to see pictures of you
Metadrummer.
pitching pipe.
Yeah, pitch that pipe.
I get that. I put the picture of me with the blowtorch up. Apparently, it needs to be my new my new default.
I think it's pretty handsome.
Blow that torch. Pitch that pipe.
It's great because it really does look like you're holding the lightsaber I got from Galaxy's Edge.
Dude, you went to Galaxy's Edge?
I did.
Oh, we have to talk.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good shit. All right, well, hell yeah, that's an episode, I think.
It's something.
Huzzah.
We did it. All right, well, thanks for tuning in to Old Ben Yell at Cloud. As always, this is Patrick, and I'm here with
Christopher.
Jim,
and you're gonna see us in hell.
I'm gonna see you in hell.
Cool. Good night.
Now available in podcast feeds. Don't miss your chance to join three friends as they unpack movies from their childhood.
I'm just gonna watch you die.
What was this film rated again?
PG.
And decide just how traumatic they were.
That is how long they're stabbing him.
I giggled through that scene because it was so uncomfortable and weird.
In Clamshell Case Files, starring the bad boy of podcasting, Quentin.
I mean, if my dog killed another dog, I would protect him by burying that body, but I would never kill the dog myself.
Girl Friday, Bridget.
I just want to apologize to Samantha Mathis that I have been maligning her breasts for decades.
And America's sweetheart, Matt.
Where a giant toy elephant is blowing snow out of its hooter nose thingy all over the building.
You're invited to share in the magic of Clamshell Case Files. Available from the Zero Science Network, wherever you download podcasts.